Welcome to Tenerife in the Canary Islands. If when you're on holiday, you're like me, you just like to have a little sneaky peek under the cover of the distribution board or consumer unit to get a feel for the local electrical wiring, then you're in for a treat. We're about to meet up with a local electrician who relocated from the UK 28 years ago, Mark Fradley of Plus Installaciones, to go under the cover and find out more.
That's a hard life.
I don't know why you left Stoke-on-Trent, Mark.
No, sometimes I question my sanity.
After a light lunch, we headed down to an apartment block where Mark looks after the electrical maintenance. So is this the landlord supply, as we'd call it?
This would be the supply for where we're about to go.
Right.
In the garage, the lighting, the emergency lights, any sockets that would be there, the door entry, which is the door entry system, and then you would also have
A removable door. I like that feature.
Obviously somebody's pulled it off the wrong way.
Okay.
So you've got various lighting circuits. This is the Minutera that I was telling you about.
The Minutera.
Minutera. So this is similar to a contactor.
Yeah.
With a timer on it.
Okay.
So when you push those buttons inside the garage,
okay,
or the detectors,
yeah,
the PIRs detector, it'll activate this and bring on the lighting.
Okay, so that's instead of having 2 or 3-way circuits.
That's it, yeah.
We're bring back to the Minutera.
Minutera, so you just run the line out and then just join onto the line as you need.
Okay.
Like the live and neutrals.
So is this a 3-phase board or is this single?
No, this is single phase board. So obviously
okay,
it makes chint, which we don't think's the best.
Yep. So this is the main. Is this the main coming?
So this comes from one of the meters here.
Yeah.
This one here.
Okay.
Comes over, single phase. This comes into surge protection and over current.
Okay, so that looks like a. Okay, is that a little test switch on the side?
Oh no, that's when it's buggered. It pops out.
Ah, right. Okay.
Just to tell me that you've received too much electricity or too much voltage.
Ah, right. So like an overvoltage.
Yeah.
And then you have a surge next to it.
And then these ones are little pastillas, so little tablets that pull out.
Yeah.
And you can change them for others, but you can't get them.
Okay. And then everything else from there on seems to be double pole.
Everything's double pole that we have here, yes. There's no polarity on the switches. There's no polarity on the sockets. The sockets basically is a Shuko, and you can plug them out and put it in which way you want. So the only other double protection on the switching is for the water heaters. So they are always on a socket and a double pole switch.
Okay. Something's just clicked there.
Shall we have a look inside?
Let's have a look inside. So just point out, you didn't wire this, is that right?
That's correct.
You're just on maintenance in this particular instance?
That's it, yeah.
So the interesting here, that enclosure, it's not that, so we've got chint breakers in somebody else's enclosure.
Yeah, so there's no type testing.
Yeah, so basically you buy the enclosure and you can put whatever you want in there.
Exactly, yes.
Right.
Because there's no need for it, because there's no bus bars underneath supplying everything up.
Wow.
Yes.
So that's
they're a bit of a mess.
It's busy.
Very busy.
So again, so we've got let's have a look. So this is our single phase cable coming in, what looks like a nice bit of flexicon.
It's 10 mil phase.
And that's going well.
And 2 of the phases are connected.
And
it'll come into this.
Yeah.
And then this will loop out with these cables here supplying up the RCDs and doing the individual lighting circuits and everything.
Okay, so this is like what we'd call a split load board.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah. And then, so each RCD, I think it's sort of got 3 RCD zones.
Yeah.
And then different breakers off each one.
Yeah, so here you've got 3 circuits, and then on the contactor for the switching, and then this will override the contactor point to bring all 3 circuits on that are in the garage from these 2 connectors here.
Yeah. And there's the Minutera, probably the noisiest Minutera we've ever heard.
Yeah, that's why they're housed in this. They do make a noise.
So I noticed looking at the RCDs, we've got type AC still.
Yeah, the majority are put in type AC. You will find in the next change of regulations in about 2 or 3 years where they're going to actually take out the AC RCDs and swap them to Super Inmunizado, which are like type A. They're slightly different than type A, but you do see in this one, which you won't see in many other places, earth bar.
Ah, okay.
You don't see that only in a little connector hidden behind the.
Right. So there isn't. Yeah, where's the? Is that because it's all plastic? Oh yeah, there's no. There's not many CPCs, as Gary would call it.
No, but they all go into this CPC here. All go up and join into the first box, and then just distribute out to all the different circuits. So you will find earths here.
So you've got a common CPC leaves the board, and then is distributed in the junction boxes.
Go to the first box where it'll be in connectors. That'll go to one light switch, another light switch, another light, and then carry on all the way down.
And that could be feeding multiple circuits.
Oh, that could be feeding 100 CPCs throughout the circuit.
Right. So that must give you a challenge when it comes to testing, does it?
Oh yes, it does. But yeah, with the clip-on ammeters for milliamps, you clip on, you start to work your way up until you stop getting the fault currents, and you know where you are. Ta-da!
Right, so Mark, our supplier's left our main incomer there. Where's it going after? How's it going to be distributed to the apartments? Okay,
so it comes in through a trunking that'll be in this box in here. Drop down here to the main isolating switch that basically kills all of the power to this set of apartments.
Okay, so then we've got what looks like a big bus bar.
Yep. So you've got the three-phase and neutral, and each apartment here is three-phase. So they get transported up into the cables that attach at the top, into the meters, and from the meters into the connectors at the top, and then ran out into the apartments. In this particular case, it's because we have tube supplying tray that goes into feeding or transporting the cables, the containment to transport the cables into the apartments. They're all done in flex cable like this one here.
Yeah, so we think this looks like an armoured cable, but it's not.
Yeah, but it's not. There's no armoured cable over here. We don't use it in Spain.
Oh, that's why?
Everything's encased in concrete.
Okay.
And then we have another supply coming in, so there's dual supply, and this is for the fire alarm system only.
Okay, so it's got its own dedicated supply.
Own dedicated supply, yeah. So this is like the low smoke, but it also withstands, I think it's like 350 degrees or something. That's to maintain service.
Right, and that looks like it's fed. Is that a conduit with metal in it as well?
Yes, it is. Yeah, as you can see, there's no gland been put on properly. There's no gland been put on at all.
Right.
No metal, like you use in the UK for something like this with for the anti-caída. That is the anti-fall.
Premature collapse.
Premature collapse.
Anti-fall. We'll use that one, Mark. We can use that one.
You'll probably get over the impact driver.
So if you were working on one of these apartments and you wanted to isolate the supply, what would you be doing here?
So in this particular one, because it is near enough done up to standards, so you have here Vivienda, which is property 3. You would look down at the fuses at the bottom, and you can tell that the cables are 3. You would think that corresponds to the apartment 3 or property 3, and it doesn't. It's actually property 2.
Okay.
So here you've got property 6.
Vivienda, yes, I can see that there.
And you know, over time those little indicators, little pen to identify the circuit, wear off.
Oh, right, okay.
As you can tell, it started to do here.
So you think you're working on flat 3 and accidentally disconnect flat 4.
Exactly.
Okay, so I want to isolate that, but they look like, are they like bottle fuses?
Yeah, the bottle fuses, they're called Neo-Cs, and you just take 1, 2, 3 out, put them in your pocket, and away you go. Put the panel back on. As you can see, all the meters are all sealed up, and all the boxes are sealed up. We should never go into there.
Like a hinge up flat for the...
Exactly, yeah, so they can read it or go through the menu of each apartment.
They're smart meters?
Yeah, these are smart meters, so they have the little telephone logo there to say that it's transmitting to central.
Yeah, okay.
And then this one here is if it's on permanently, it means there's no consumption. If it's flashing just slowly, there's a little bit of consumption, medium consumption, and when it's going 10 to the dozen, that means that somebody's using everything in the apartment.
Oh wow!
Tea time. It's a little bit intrusive.
But
people not too bothered about that.
On this bus bar, there is another plastic shield in there between the bottle fuses and the bus bar.
That's something that's been out for about 4 or 5 years. Before it used to be all open, and now there's a shield.
A shield between it, so you're not...
a little bit more protection, and you'll find when we go to the wholesalers tomorrow, we'll find that's how they do them now. The actual
they've moved on again.
Yeah, they've moved on again, which is quite common here. And then you've got your earth bar at the top where the CPC goes into the apartment, and it's just a global earth.
Yeah, so that'll be back to our...
That goes straight back to the... it'll go back to...
The coffin. Oh no, the grave, as you call it.
It'll go back to... it's a cut-off bar. Okay. There's a test point. It's just like a knife. You just move it over.
Yeah.
And it kills the earth or separates the earth.
And we've been suffering from electrician's neck. We can't help but looking up at the roof. And the first thing that struck me, Mark, is people don't seem to bend plastic conduit.
That's correct. You'll find some electricians do, but the majority they buy the flexible couplings and and join everything on with that.
Right. That looks like an expensive way to get over 2 pipes.
Absolutely. Normally they are the same price as a length of 2 metre tube of the same size. So yes,
So I think we'll
but it cuts down on time, I guess.
Well, we'll start selling bending springs up here. Then the other thing I noticed, at the other end of the scale...
Yeah, prefabricated.
When we go into a junction box, there's no glands.
No, there isn't. No, I mean, sometimes... I mean, that box there is... that's 32mm tube, and that box is too small. That hole, as you see, has perforated the box. It's in the wrong size box.
Right, okay.
It is.
Yeah,
they're up to... Those kind of boxes are from 16, 20, 25mm tube. Right. And then they've gone in with 32mm.
More prefabricated bends.
Yeah, they're quite common here.
And back into here, and then we can see plastic cable tray.
Yes, so the plastic cable tray, you can see two types. Some electricians do put steel tray in, but there's obviously a difference in price between the two. You get the main cables running in the wider trunking. They feed all the apartments from the meter cupboard that we've just been into. And then the smaller one is for fibre, telephone, data, and TV.
Right, now normally we'd be worried about these collapsing off the ceiling in the event of a fire. I can see it looks like probably the world's smallest uni-strut there.
Yeah.
That's interesting, but yeah, sort of fire-rated fixings up into the ceiling. Yeah, and that's thing. And now you call these register boxes?
Yes, because we register the cables within the box. It's taken from the Spanish name for caja registro.
Okay.
So we call them register boxes. Other people may call them inspection boxes. And as you can see, that's a perfect place to put in a PIR.
Yeah, that's handy with a bit of energy saving. And then you said every switch runs to a register box.
Every switch should come from a register box. I mean, that's how the regulations have been.
Okay, so you don't loop in from, you wouldn't wire a light from the light switch.
Everything's run off a switch called a minutero, which is basically, it's got a live and neutral to it. And these are all joined up together into the same...
into the same register box?
Into the same register box that control this minutero. It's similar to a contactor.
Okay, and then we've gone into, again, straight into the switch with a conduit. You just sort of cut out the little sort of IP-rated
like
nipple.
Say, there is couplings that go in that are threaded on the inside, but you don't tend to use them here because of the added expense.
If you want to save a bit of money, there we go. Is that the standard way of fixing conduit to the wall?
No.
No? Okay. This is the base with a cable tie. That's a local amendment.
As you can tell, they don't, well, I say they don't. Certain electricians don't even glue the ends together. You can see there, it's actually not even ever been glued together. Do you want to go for a drink?
Yeah.
Seeing something a little bit different with the electrics over here. It's a bit questionable.
No, it's actually very good, yeah. I haven't seen anything. Sometimes you go places and you sort of...
Well, I could show you some of those places. She's just lovely. Bet Gary would enjoy this.
He likes curry, just likes to eat curries all the time.
Oh, does he? They're lovely, these are, Gaz. Lovely.
Word gets out, I'm having lunch, that'll be trouble. I think it's really interesting how they go about the electrical installations here in Tenerife and wider Spain. If you'd like to get closer to the materials that are used in the installations, check out this video here where we go down to the wholesalers.